Hey everybody, Ashton here with Gents with another fragrance review. Today we're taking a look at a fragrance that I picked up in my most recent haul video, Close Up by Olfactive Studio. We'll check out the presentation on this because I really like the presentation of Olfactive Studio fragrances. Then we'll check out the fragrance itself. Alright, let's go ahead and check out the presentation. So Olfactive Studio gets a professional photographer and professional nose and they kind of pair them together. So the fragrance is supposed to go with the photograph. So you can see here the photograph on the front of the box, the name Close Up, size and concentration at the bottom. On the back of the box is typical information. On the bottom is your ingredients, and then your batch code is printed in black ink here. One thing that's cool about Olfactive Studio is you get a print of the photograph inside the box. So here's the print for Close Up. And then on the back, you have the name of the photographer and then Olfactive Studio. It's very cool. This is the new style of bottle. The old style had some tape across the front with the name of the fragrance written on it. This has what looks like a camera aperture in the back. You have the name of the fragrance and house here. This little black kind of I guess band that sits across the top of the bottle. You can pick it up by the cap. It doesn't snap into place, but it's very snug, as you can see. The atomizer does a good job. And then on the bottom, you just have the sticker with your typical information. The main thing that I like about the presentation is the photograph and the fact that you get a print. It's very cool because some of the pictures are actually very, very nice. So it makes for a great display if you decide to use the boxes in your display. The open of this is actually kind of dusty. Now I don't mean that it actually smells like dust, it just gives off that feel or that vibe. It's that feeling you get when you smell something and it's almost like you're taking in a whole cloud of the fragrance. Like when you get hit by a dust cloud and it just kind of envelops your olfactive sense. It's something along those lines. The coffee accord in this is not really strong. It doesn't come across like actual coffee. It's more like the top edge of a coffee note, kind of just adding some depth. So you can pick it up in the background, that little nuance that may remind you of coffee, but it's not the actual scent of coffee itself. Now the main thing that you pick up in this fragrance is cherry and Tonka. The Tonka adds a good amount of sweetness, so this is a fragrance that comes across on the sweeter side of things. The cherry is not like a succulent or juicy cherry. It's more like a dried cherry. So you still get that cherry scent, but it's not something that comes across like a bright fruit, and it's not something that comes across like a cherry candy either. This is a fairly linear fragrance. What you get in the open is pretty much what you get in the mid, and the dry down just in differing amounts of strength. That coffee accord that you get at the beginning, which again is in the background to begin with, dissipates as this goes into the mid, if you would want to call it a mid where it's so linear. And there are other accords that you can pick up a little bit, like patchouli, amber, rose, but it's very well blended. And where this stays linear, you can't really pick out where one note starts to come in and another leaves. It's mainly that dried cherry note and the little bit of warmth and sweetness from Tonka that carries on for pretty much the entire life of the fragrance. This fragrance does come off a little bit powdery and it can get cloying. So it's one that you don't want to spray too much, especially in warmer weather. So this is one that's better suited for cooler weather, either in the fall or the winter time. Because again, with that kind of dusty feel that I was talking about, it just kind of comes out in a big cloud at first for the first hour or so. After that, it sits a lot closer to the skin. Honestly, it goes very close to the skin. But for that first hour, if you spray this on liberally and it's hot outside, it's going to be a cloying scent. So just be aware of that. Longevity for this is about 8 hours, which is good for me. It lasts a good amount of time. The projection, like I said, for an hour is quite good. You get a big sillage cloud around you. After that, it starts to sit closer to your skin. We're talking about an inch off the skin at that point. And as time goes, it creeps closer and closer to being a complete skin scent. The fragrance to me is unisex. Personally, I really like the way it smells. That dry, semi-powdery cherry sweetened up with Tonka. It's a very warm scent. It's not necessarily something that I would say is very spicy. It's definitely on the sweeter side, but some people are going to find this to be too feminine. It is a unisex scent. It's just one that some people will find feminine because it's basically all sweet with cherry and tonka just leading the way, being blended together with all these other accords. It's not something that carries a whole lot of masculine firepower with it. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm an Olfactive Studio fan. I have 6 of their fragrances at this point. I like their presentation. I like most of their fragrances. There are a couple that I could leave, but this one personally I do really enjoy. It doesn't smell like anything else that I've smelled to this point. I like the cherry. It is dry, it is slightly powdery, and the tonka basically just makes it all sweet, but I enjoy it. Personally, I give it a thumbs up, but I understand that this is not going to be for everybody. So again, like all other fragrances, if possible, sample beforehand. I'll leave a link in the description where you can pick this up at a good price if you do decide to order it. You're going to have to order it from Europe. I have had my wife smell this on multiple occasions. She said that it's really nice, she does like it, but it's not something that she would choose as a sexy type fragrance, just one that she enjoys smelling. So those were her quick thoughts on it. Alright guys, that's my take on Olfactive Studio Close-Up. If you smelled this one, let me know what you think about it. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.